But anyway, it was April 1981, and my new bride, that was 35 years ago, suggested that we go on our honeymoon to Europe. Now, she had been to Europe when she was 19, traveled alone, but I had never been, and I was kind of fearful about going to Europe because, you know, I like to be in control. I like to be able to speak the language. I like to be able to, and I was worried that I wouldn't be able to speak the language. I was worried I wouldn't be able to count the money, and I would be constantly lost when we got over there. And we were going to plan on going for 4 weeks. Going to spend a week in UK, a week in France, a few days in Switzerland, and then back through Italy. So the money is like crazy. It was back when the French franc and the Swiss franc and the yen and the lira and the UK pound, it was all crazy back then. Anyway, we landed in London, Gatwick, and we took a train back to London, downtown London, to get the rental car. We met a couple on the train who needed a ride, who helped us get to, and they speak English in London, so that was great. I was doing okay. And we got the rental car, and the steering wheel's on the wrong side. And so you get in the car, and it was a manual car. And every time I would go to shift, I'd slam my hand into the door, thinking that was where the stick was, when it was actually over here on this side. So that was first. And then also the people that we were giving a ride, that we met on the train, would scream and yell every time I made a turn to stay on the left. Because, you know, and then we dropped them off, and we went down the M1, the motorway, to Kidwelly, Wales. And I would, you know, without thinking about it, I would want to be physically on the correct side of the lane, and my car, the rest of the car was in the next lane, and I would be physically seated over the correct part of the lane, you know, because back in the States, it took a while to get used to it. Anyway, so we spent a few days in Kidwelly, Wales, and in the Isle of Wight, and met a friend in the Isle of Wight, and then back to London to take the ferry to Dieppe. And, you know, it said 2100, and in my mind, it's 11 o'clock. That's another problem I had with the 24-hour clock. 2100 is actually 9 o'clock. So we had to rush to the ferry, and got on the ferry. It was an overnight ferry, it was a bumpy ride, and then woke up, got on a train into downtown Paris. At 6 a.m. on a work day, everybody's speaking another language. I'm in the middle of it. I get a little anxious, but I'm okay, because I was with my wife, and together we were a team. So my French, I don't speak any French, so asked people for directions, and I'd say, excuse me, I apologize, I'm an American, I only speak one language and not that well. And can you help us get to the, nobody. And then finally someone said, oh yeah, it was an expat, and this is where you go. And so we picked up the rental car and we drove to eastern France, and right on the Swiss border, and then into Switzerland, and then we camped out on Lake Lucerne, and we hiked in the Alps, then we drove through a tunnel, a long tunnel, and came out in Italy. Then, let's see, oh, so we stayed in northern Italy for a while, in Florence, and in Venice, rather. In Florence, we had an incident, sorry, we had an incident where somebody broke into our car. They smashed the window. So I called up the rental car, and I said, this rental car people, and I said, you know what, we have a broken window, and what do we do? And they said, well, just get a police report, and we'll send you to a place to get it fixed. Well, the police didn't speak any English. We didn't speak any French. I mean, Italian, Italy, Florence, Italy. So what we did was we improvised the scene of what happened to the car while he typed. Now this is '81, you know, and he typed it in a typewriter with the onion skin paper and carbon in it, and he understood that we had to get a police report, and so he was typing, and my wife and I were acting out, you know, in the car, and they broke the window, and they took the radio out, and everything. We improvised the whole thing, and he had typed up his report, and we had to sign it. We had no idea what we signed, but we brought the report to the rental car company, and we got the car fixed. Then we were driving through the south of France. We visited the bridge at Avignon. That was my childhood song. And when you're in the middle of nowhere in the south of France, there's no street lights. So if the sun sets, you just have to pitch a tent in the field and just camp out. So we kept driving and driving and driving. And then I saw a sign, Mon Plaisir, Chateau Mon Plaisir. I said, oh look, Janet, we're gonna stay here tonight. We drove into the gravel driveway. Was tree lined, you know, just like in the movies. And we drove up for about 2 minutes, and we got to a little parking area, and there was a beautiful chateau with some tables outside and people dining. And I had one of these language computers. It was about, you know, it was LCD, because LED wasn't invented yet. LCD, and it had little language modules. And so you would put the English phrase that you wanted to translate, and it would come up phonetically. A little screen would scroll the French. So I put in, I would like a room for the night, s'il vous plaît, and then wait. And then it scrolled that expression in French. Une chambre, pour favor. S'il vous plaît, yeah, pour la nuit. Une chambre pour la nuit, s'il vous plaît. I practiced it, practiced it, practiced it. And then I walked into the, you know, we walked into the hotel lobby, and let me tell you, this was unbelievable. It was so ornate, with glass cases all around of World War I and World War II memorabilia. I'd look in the glass case, and it was really incredible. And it looked like it was from one of those World War II movies where the Nazis took over. And, but you know, that was 1981. Anyway, the stairway was so wide you can drive a tank up it. And it had glass cases all along the sides of it. And I looked over. Oh, at the bottom of the stairs, it had a hand-painted carriage, a big one with you know, like a horse and carriage, but the horse wasn't on it. But it was hand-painted. It was so beautiful. It was like stunning. And I saw the check-in desk, which was real old, about this high. And I saw the top of a beret behind the desk. And I walked up to it, and I've been practicing. And I walked up to it, and there was a little old man with his French beret working back there, and he looked up at me, and I said, s'il vous plaît, une chambre pour la nuit. And he looked up at me, and he smiled, and he came from out behind the desk, and he said, quand j'étais des fois là, j'ai pas froid. Oh, je me dis, non, quand j'étais me dis, non, c'est des fois là, j'ai mon enfant, quand j'étais là, I went, whoa. Oh man, I didn't expect a question. I didn't expect a response. I just, you know, yes or no. And he kept on going. Oh my goodness. Oh wait, I apologize. I'm an American. I only speak one language and not that well. Un por favor, pour la chambre, pour la nuit. Please. And finally came out and he picked up my hand. He said, he pointed to my wedding ring and went, ah, oui, yes, we're married. Yes, thank you. And so he took us up to the best room, probably the honeymoon room, and opened up the door. And in it had a huge bed and a dining room table so you can eat in the room. And then he walked over to the shutters, the front shutters, and threw them open. And you could see the whole chateau, the whole the property of the whole, it was so beautiful. It was breathtakingly beautiful. There was mountains in the background, and there's like a mist out there, and it was just, and it smelled so good. Because, you know, I'm from Brooklyn, and it doesn't smell that good back home. So it doesn't take much to impress me. But so, and then it had just been renovated, and it had even had a bathroom, a real bathroom in the room, not a hole in the floor like we've been used to. So he said. You know, I got it. The kitchen was closed, and we had to get downstairs and order. So we went downstairs, and the waitress spoke English, so that was good. And I got the wine of the region. I got a nice Pinot, the wine of the region, and I got the meal of the region, ratatouille, and a beef dish with like a mustard sauce or something. And we learned that Janet was allergic to wine, so she couldn't drink any of that wine. I had drank the whole bottle myself. Now I'm a cheap drunk. Janet wasn't feeling well, so I brought her back to the room, and I am smashed. I am so drunk. I couldn't go to sleep, so I went down the stairs, and I saw him, our host, sitting behind the desk. And I said, listen, I know you don't understand what I'm saying, but let me tell you, we just came back from 3 weeks of UK, of northern France, in Switzerland, in Italy. We stayed in all places, but this place is the finest food. This place has the best view with the best room. And this place had the best service, and this place is the best of the best that we ever stayed at. And I want to thank you very much. And he looked up at me. He said, oh, thank you very much. My wife is the chef. And the reason why the food is so good, because we have a garden. He took me out and showed me the property where there's this huge garden where they grew vegetables. And the fish is fresh because we have the fish pond, and the rabbit is fresh because we have a rabbit hutch. And he spoke freaking English. My new best friend. Thank you very much.